The next one down is the stamp tool, and this is actually very similar to the healing tool, in that it requires us to actually define a location to start painting. So again, holding down Alt, I'm going to grab the middle of the eye here, and then moving up to where you want to start painting. You'll actually see a ghost of where it starts painting. Again, don't forget you can adjust your brush size as required, and you can start painting, and you'll see that reference point of where you're painting. Once again, you do have the option of having it aligned, which means that, if I click off and start painting somewhere else, it's going to reference the image. Now, do be aware that as we do this, I've started in the middle of this eye here, I've painted up here, and now it's aligned. It's actually going to start referencing the next eye, and so on and so forth. So one of the things we really try and avoid when doing photo repairs is this dreaded thing where you start seeing a repeat, as I'm doing here with the eyebrow. You want to make sure if you are using this, that you start referencing from other areas, and see if you can herd this in so it doesn't look like it's just a repeated pattern. There's nothing quite as ghastly as just seeing the same repeated blemish or pattern over and over again. So I'm going to Control Alt Z that back quite a bit. Again, you could also jump into history to do that, but that should do it. So the stamp tool is very, very, very handy. Pattern stamp tool we're not going to worry about for this. Also be aware that the opacity is there. If you want to drop the opacity, you can start doing something a little bit more subtle where you gradually build it up, as opposed to doing something really over the top. So I usually do find having a lower opacity than 100% can allow you to gradually blend stuff up a lot better. Now I'm just going to quickly show you the difference between the stamp tool and the healing brush tool. And the big difference is with the healing brush tool, let's select something like the eye, hold down Alt, and I'm going to start painting up here in the hair, which is a little bit unusual. But if you look carefully, what you'll start seeing is that it kind of blends the two together, and that's the job of the healing tool. It's getting information. It's going, okay, well, let's do a compromise. We're looking at those colors, we're looking at those values, we're looking at those textures. Let's see if we can get something that's going to match that together. Now the stamp tool, shortcut S again, is if I select Alt and then move the eye up there and start painting, it's a literal paint. It's going, right, that's the eye, I'm literally going to paint whatever that is. You can still blend it in by dropping your opacity down and seeing if you can blend it in that way. And again, don't forget your shortcuts for that, numeric on the keypad to bring that up. So use what's necessary. Blemishes, creases, stuff like that, healing tool is great. If it's still not playing ball, you may need to use the stamp tool. And don't forget you can use new blank layers for this if need be. So that's pretty good. I'm actually going to delete those. Let's see if we can actually step back enough to get us back. Another one I do want to mention is don't be afraid to duplicate an image. We've got a version here. If I'm going to do something extreme, do duplicate it, and if it's not working out, we still have at least a reasonable backup quite quickly without deleting too much or having to mess around with the history. You can always get rid of it at a later point. Cool. So I'm going to show you another technique as well. So this should be great for cleaning up our basic blemishes and stuff like that. But what happens if you run into something major like this beard? Now this beard's not going to go away lightly. Our healing tool is going to really struggle with this. Even if we grab a clear area and we start brushing it over, you're going to end up with some very, very weird looking stuff going on here. It's just going to look a big fuzzy mess, and that's not what we want. If that is the case, we may need to look elsewhere and have a look and go, what can we do to replace this?